Why are we doing this again?
Because it's fun.
Mhm.
It's on video and audio. Danny's shy. Would you believe it?
I want to go behind you.
No, you're in front of the camera now. And to all those that are listening, I'm sorry. You'll have to check out YouTube, Wind Machine Productions.
Just throw to the intro for God's sake.
Okay. This is a really long intro.
Hello and welcome to the Wind Machine Podcast, not your average Eurovision podcast. This is a different episode for us
Yes.
because we're on YouTube, but we're also in your ears. My name's Danie Tregonning, and as always, I am with Mark Perkins,
Hi.
who's making me do this against my will.
I'm sorry, listeners and viewers. Suck it.
Who said we should do this again?
Mihal O'Kane. Let's blame Mihal.
I swear to God, like, usually we're in pajamas.
Yes.
You're having wine. Where is the wine?
I know, I've just got my water.
He's keeping up appearances, obviously.
I think I just shook the camera, so sorry about that.
Whoopsie. I've just got my regular iced tea and...
I should check the camera to make sure it's working.
Is
Anyway.
it working?
Yeah.
I love this.
This is
great.
technology, you know?
I love it.
I know.
It's great.
It's great. It's great.
It's great. Is it working though?
Yep.
Oh God, look at us. Please no.
That's kind of an inception moment there.
Oh please, please. I just
So why are we here?
We're here to talk a little bit about the Eurovision that was. So
Yes.
we asked some of our listeners and followers on social media to send us some stuff.
Yes.
Some talking points, because we could just ramble.
Well, considering our preview episode went for almost 3 hours, we could probably ramble. So we'll try and keep this as short as possible.
We're trying to keep this as short as possible. So basically, Sally on Instagram just said, tell us everything, consider it a debrief.
Where do you start?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Also, Matt on Twitter, I love this, listen to this. Crikey! What to talk about from Eurovision 2024?
Not much to tell, really. Yeah.
I reckon this will be your longest episode yet. With all the negative stories coming out of Malmö this year, it would be great to hear some of your positive experiences being there, if any. Well, we will.
Well, of course, yeah.
We will talk about some of the positives, of course, but yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I feel like we need to give like a trigger warning for some of the things that may be covered in this episode.
Yeah, pretty much.
Like
there's so many elephants in the room. There's not enough room to cover all these elephants, really.
It's a zoo. Really,
it's a zoo,
yeah. It's a zoo. Yeah. But before we begin with our stuff, I just wanted to send a shout out to Gabe and Matt, who have covered a lot of the controversies and drama of Eurovision 2024. So you can check them both out on YouTube. Gabe is ESC Gabe, and Matt, of course,
ESC United.
ESC United. So Matt's was actually part of a live stream, which was very interesting. And of course, with time zones and stuff, we miss a lot of live streams, so you can always watch that back Also, if you want a bit of a laugh, you should turn that off because that's going to go glink.
Oh, better. Huh, silent.
Silent mode, thank you.
Yeah.
If you want a bit of a laugh, though, you should check out ESC Harry.
Oh, yes. Harry,
because
legend.
Harry's done some interesting kind of comical looks at Eurovision 2024 and the train wreck that it was. I do think that we, just quickly before we go into other talking points that we have on our
list of, yes.
things, the viewing numbers.
Yes.
I think it's kind of like when you see a car accident and you slow down.
Yes, it is. Oh, something's happening at Eurovision. Quick, turn it on.
I wouldn't see that as a win for this year.
Well,
I think it was a lot of I've heard a lot of stuff in the mainstream media about Eurovision this year. Should I actually watch?
You know what they say about media? Any media is good media.
Yeah, any publicity is good
publicity. Yeah.
Yes.
So yeah, viewing figures equals lots of money.
So, Simon,
yes,
on Instagram, asked us for our top 10 delights and top 10 disappointments of 2024. Now, we haven't ranked these.
No.
I know we're so bad.
We're not Eurovision fans,
at being
clearly.
Eurovision fans. So we've basically just jotted down some things to talk about. Now, we'll start with the delights first.
Oh, and this one's a big delight, really.
Now, I think Matt will probably enjoy this because, no, it wasn't all doom and gloom.
No.
And there were some good things to come out of the trip itself, but also out of, the funny fan bubble that we're in called Eurovision.
Yeah.
At number one, we have seeing our friends and meeting new ones.
Oh, this is a real special one for me. Obviously, it is to you too.
Oh, absolutely. Ruben on Insta said, the nice guy from Belgium you met.
Hi, Ruben.
If only we'd met you under better circumstances, because I think
both times we
saw you,
we were kind of stressed.
I was probably in the middle of a panic attack, which happened a lot that week.
Yeah.
And I think the other time we were at a lift, and then
at Village,
and me just overwhelmed. But yeah, like it's gotten to the point now, I think, for us especially, a lot of people calling for boycotts and stuff like that is very from a European kind of mindset where you can just jump on a plane and go to Eurovision with a moment's notice, or you can do the opposite and cancel everything and not go to Eurovision at a moment's notice. Australians don't really have
it's a bit harder,
that luxury. And a lot of people, calling out saying, oh, you shouldn't go and all that stuff. Well, when you book stuff in like December, and then, that was flights. And then when you're scrambling to find something affordable in a host city, so you're pretty much playing hotel roulette, and you find something, but in the back of your brain, you're constantly thinking, it'll be all right once we get there.
Yeah. Malmo was definitely challenging.
It was challenging, but seeing friends and stuff.
Yeah, that made it all worthwhile.
It was.
I made a lot of new friends.
You did.
Probably lifelong friends, actually. Just happy to see everyone.
I think we've all, what's the best way to say this without coming off a bit yuck? I feel like, not that we've all gone to war together, it's more that we've all been on a battlefield together.
Yes.
And, we've had this shared experience that's really, really hard to explain to people that weren't there.
Well, shared trauma is the words that were used, I think.
Yeah, it's definitely not a Eurovision that I will look back on with a lot of love, but there are certain times when you were like, hey, that was pretty cool, or it was great to see that person. I basically just called it my yearly hug convention.
Yes, a yearly hug convention for sure.
And you just got to see people that you don't see, or you just talk to them online, 11 months out of the year, and then you see them, and it's so much better in real life. And being so far away, we are sort of protected a little bit from the bubble, but also we're in our own little bubble here in Australia.
Yes.
So it makes it a little bit
Yeah.
more special to see your friends.
Look, when it comes to things like Eurovision pre-parties, we have severe FOMO because we see everyone going to London pre-party, Amsterdam calling, and all that, and we're like, we could go, but then, it's very expensive.
And you got to come back and then go again.
Yeah.
Things get so bad here in Australia that you fork out a couple of $100 to sit up the back to watch Engelbert Humperdinck.
Which we did a couple of days ago, as you do.
But bear in mind, we don't usually like to date things, but we are recording this on the 25th of May.
Yes.
And I'm saying that because there's going to be topics that we're covering a bit later, which are very time relevant.
Yes, good point, actually.
So, yeah, depending on how long this takes for us to edit and upload and all of that stuff, it's the 25th of May. So there's a lot of things that could possibly change between us finishing this and it being released. So think of it as a time capsule. But yeah, honestly, seeing friends, meeting new ones.
Some friends I wish I'd spent more time with. So hopefully next year.
That's always a little bit hard, isn't it? It's a little bit hard. Sorry, that was probably an abrupt cut. One of the great things about podcasting is I don't have to worry that my eyeliner is going for a walk. So I had to step out and get a tissue and just kind of wipe that. I'm not being emotional.
Well, after this year, don't blame me, really.
But it's all right now. The eye makeup's better.
Yeah.
Number 2 on our delights of 2024 was the random interactions with artists. And yes, Rowan, we are going to talk about Armenia.
Yes. The first Saturday, so this is the day before the turquoise carpet, we were going to get our Euroclub passes, and myself and Rowan went in and we saw Estonia's act, just walk past, and we walked out, and then I'm standing there while you and Kate go and get your passes.
Yeah, because the beautiful thing, and we'll talk a little bit about this a bit later, was no bags. It's how I learn. So we had a lot of stuff with us.
Yes.
So basically, Kate and I had to hang back.
That's right.
With bags and all of that stuff.
Because you couldn't go inside with bags.
Send you and Rowan in to get your weekly pass for Euroclub, and then we kind of hung out. And then you came back and you were like, so-and-so's there, and I'm like, damn you.
And then you guys walk in.
Bag policy.
And then we're guarding the bags, and I go, hang on, that's for me. That's Ladaniva. Huh. And then all of a sudden they start to migrate to this busker who's on this big contraption. I know it's like a bike windmill. I don't know. It was weird.
Yeah, it was a bike, and it had like a thing at the back that was blowing bubbles.
Yes.
And I was saying to Greg, like, that was an accurate representation of like neurodiversity.
Yeah.
Because we were just like, wee, looking at this thing.
And so I thought I got this camera out that I'm filming with now, and I thought I'd take a bit of footage, which I put up on YouTube. And then what's his name? Forgotten his name. I'm great, aren't I?
Yeah.
Started playing.
We're doing better than the SBS commentary, so you're fine.
Hey, that's there. They should know that. They're paid to do that. Okay. And after that, we got a photo with
Jacqueline.
Jacqueline, yeah, she was really sweet.
And weirdly, she was like, "Why do I know you?" And I'm like,
the hair.
There were a few instances of why do I know you?
Isaac?
Yeah, so arriving at Euroclub one night, and it wasn't exactly the greatest of nights, and got myself organised, and we were about to go into club, and there was like a group of people. So Euroclub itself, you would just have a lot of chance meetings like in the hallway outside of club. So we were about to go in, and I sort of spotted Mihal talking, and I was like, "Oh my God, it's Isaac!" And then it was very weird, like the seas parted, and he was like, "You," and I'm like, "Oh, here we go again." And he was, basically like, "Thank you for saying nice things about my song on Eurovision Hub and all of that stuff." And we got a photo together, and it was great. And it was just those kind of weird things, like seeing Zachariah from Electric Fields, and outside having a smoke, because that's where it all happened.
Very drunk.
And very drunk. And we had two quite large heart-to-hearts. So it's those chance meetings, I think, that are the coolest.
Yeah, like I saw Theodora walk past the Euro Club. I said, "Hey," and she's, "Oh yeah," and I saw Bambi after their qualification on
oh my God,
semi-final
I
one.
missed that.
Yeah, you were outside.
Of course,
they came with their entourage into the VIP area, and then I think people have seen it on YouTube or Twitter or something, where they're doing the the mosh pit sort of, and yeah, that was pretty wild. But yeah, you saw artists everywhere, like Estonia's artists. I think every night at Euro Club, they were in the crowd.
They were
having a good time.
And one of them especially adopted Micah, which was very cute. If you want to have like a weird interaction with Eurovision artists, just hang out with Micah, because I don't know anyone who has more tales to tell.
I know. Should get her on an interview.
Oh, I know. We should be like, who haven't you met at this stage? But like even just smiling and waving or whatever, it's not so much about getting a photo with an artist. It's more kind of like these little interactions that you can have with them, and just wish them luck or whatever. And it like they were under a ridiculous amount of pressure this year, more than just representing their country or whatever. They were under a lot of stuff. So, I think more than ever, getting those kind of, nice moments with fans probably would have been really good.
Oh yeah, and of course some wee blogs' Euphoria helped immensely with that.
It did, because like we loved Lush Lounge last year. I didn't particularly like the setup this year. But just to have something that was, it had like an intimate feel to it, which was really great. And I loved that. So, like hopefully with Switzerland being so expensive, there might be something like that for fans to just kind of get a little bit of a taste. If you haven't got tickets for Euro Club, or you can't even make it to the bloody carpet, because the bloody carpet.
Well, wait till we get to the disappointments.
Number 3 on our little delights was the safe spaces away from the contest. Now, we stayed in a suburb of Malmö, which we'll talk about this a bit later. It was a pain in the ass for public transport. But also it gave us a little bit of space from not only the city of Malmö, which was getting more and more interesting as the week progressed, but also just gave us a little bit of a time to sort of decompress and like engage in Eurovision content and sort of feel a little bit safer. And we had people come over, and like we had Greg over for dinner, and it was just really nice. And especially like it was the weirdest house.
It's a very big house.
It was a very big house, and it was great for the 4 of us. But it was nice to just have that step back from being there all the time. One thing about Liverpool that I loved, because it was Liverpool, we were right there.
We were literally across from the arena.
We were right there. But this year, I think with a lot of the stuff going on, it was nice to kind of like get into like a Bolt or an Uber at the end of the night and go, we can just leave that behind and chill out. And it was weird, because like Kate left early to go back to Germany, and we had that one day, that we were like, what are we going to do with it? You know what? We did nothing. It was brilliant.
Absolutely nothing.
We did nothing. We packed and we ate, like...
And slept.
I don't know what it is about Eurovision. Every year I lose at least 3 to 5 kilos. And it's basically out of stress, but also I forget to eat.
I lost the belt buckle size.
I
was like, yes.
It's ridiculous, but we just ate, and we, you know, tried to kind of, like, I don't know, kind of embrace what had happened. Like, it's weird
Just
now. Like, I
decompress.
listen to the songs now and I like them because it's done. And
Yeah.
that's awful, but I appreciate the songs now.
Yep.
Except for one, which I choose not to engage with still. But I look back at that and say, yeah, it was pretty good. And, you know, watching the live SBS commentary, we haven't gone through the nighttime version of it.
Yeah.
But even watching that, I kind of felt better.
Yep.
Watching that, because we weren't in the heat of the moment and all of that stuff. And I was like, you know what? It was actually not a bad show. But
in general, yeah.
Being there was... number 4 on our delights list was Europapa.
Yep.
Becoming the other winner of the people. And Eileen on Insta was like, you've got to talk about Joost.
Yes.
And we do. But since it's still an open police investigation...
As of this date.
As of the 25th of May, we're not going to go into the he said, she said, what it was all about. Something happened.
There was plenty of that on May 10th and 11th.
Yes, and it was awful.
Whew.
But honestly, I think, and Gabe said this in his winners and losers video that we watched this morning, he is one of the biggest winners this year.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Like everything that Gabe said, yep, agreed.
You know, he was able to go, and because he always wanted to go to Eurovision, he went to Eurovision, he did that, hopefully made his parents proud wherever they are. And, you know, that was a box to tick.
Yep, he's charting bloody everywhere just about.
More than our winner.
Yeah.
More than Nemo. You know, the amount of times I think that it was played at Euroclub. Like, you know what Euroclub's like? They have like 100 songs and they play that same 100 songs over and over again. But every time Europapa came on, we would go absolutely ballistic.
Oh, the whole room would just shudder.
And that was the great thing about it, because it was like, we're not tiring of hearing this song.
No.
And feeling empathy for all the Dutch fans
oof.
Who just basically had this huge amount of joy ripped out from under them so quickly. We almost felt like it was a actual Europe come together, it's now or never.
It was actually, now that you say that, yeah.
And, you know, this guy is just going to continue to just get bigger and bigger and bigger, regardless of the Eurovision Song Contest. Whatever happened, but, you know, to have that trajectory of not only the fandom getting behind the song, but also Dutch people getting so excited about their entry was so lovely to see. And then it just went plop. And
it was
we don't like roller coasters like that.
Oof. And I was in the press centre on that day.
Oh, God, yes.
Oh, dear God.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was... A lot of people in the press have said, yes, you could cut the tension with a knife. I've never experienced it
wasn't
like that.
It wasn't great. I think we'll probably talk about it a little bit later.
Yeah.
But like that intense crush that he was out. But then going to Euroclub that night and dancing to it anyway. Yeah. You know, like it went off in the arena when he wasn't even on the stage.
Yes.
So, you know, like it
Yeah.
didn't, in the end, it was like, all right, this is what it
Yeah.
is. But honestly,
Yeah.
I can't wait to see more of, as Voyager call him, juiced clean.
Yep.
Yeah. Number 5 on our delights is Euroclub in general.
Yes, which I've already alluded to. Obviously, meeting all the artists. We've said
Yep.
dancing to hits like
Yep.
Europapa.
Yep.
Like Malmo Live, really, barring a certain issue we'll talk about later, was a pretty good Euroclub. Up there with one of the best.
Yep.
I think Camp and Furnace probably just takes that out for me.
I prefer Camp and Furnace.
Yeah,
But
yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah, just a bit
no,
better.
I definitely prefer Camp and Furnace.
But definitely the rooms. I mean, a Cuban opened up later in the week, but the big room was really good. Most nights it was pretty good. Sometimes I'm not a big fan of big crowds. There was 1 or 2 times when it got really crowdy, which is probably good for the venue. So we sort of sometimes we actually spent some time in the corridor, like, and there were plenty of seats, plenty of people chatting around. It's really good. Yeah.
Like I think as a whole, Euroclub is basically, even if you're not a clubber, like we certainly aren't, if you bring the music that I want,
yes,
and you have the people that you want to hang out with,
that's pretty much
it makes it very special. And that first night
Oh,
at Euroclub is probably one of my favourite things of the whole trip.
That first night, that Saturday night, best ever.
Yeah, that opening night of Euroclub, because we were like, it's here, and it was kind of like the last hurrah before the long funeral. Now we're going to go more on this back end of our delights, our top 10 delights, more into contest-based stuff.
Yes.
So number 6, we had Latvia and Georgia finally qualifying after a really long time.
Absolutely. Well, everyone basically wrote off Dons.
Yes. My husband of the year.
The only selfie I got with an artist actually
was with Dons, and I wasn't even there.
Oh no. I thought I'd take that selfie and send it to you.
Thanks. Thanks.
Yes, I know. Well done to Dons and Nutza, or as Miff would say, Nutza.
Nutza, jeez. Okay.
Anyway, yeah, well done to them breaking their non-qualification streaks.
Which is great too, because it wasn't this like the first year in ages that we had Lithuania, Latvia, and Estonia all in the grand final. Just,
Baltic countries represent.
And, even though Dons said that there is a Latvian version of Hollow, he chose to send it in English because he wanted the message to go to a larger audience. But think about those 3, right? You've got Estonia sending Estonian.
Yeah.
And you've got Lithuania sending in Lithuanian. Yeah. Which was just amazing. But when Dons qualified, I was just like, okay, Televote, you're coming to play.
And he qualified first.
I know, and I was like, wow.
Oh, okay. First released, obviously, but not first in points. But yeah, everyone
just went, oh.
What? Okay.
Okay.
Cool.
But look, great performances. Having watched them again. Yeah, totally worth it. Now we just need Denmark to qualify one year. That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's the longest. Number 7 of the delights.
This was a big delight.
Bambi Thug and the joy of the Irish fans.
Crown the witch.
Walking through the streets of Malmö and trying sort of to be a little bit incognito, which we will talk about a bit later. Yeah. But when you saw, like, especially when we walked past that Irish pub.
Yes.
And everyone's in flag capes. Yeah. Flag capes. And just the absolute joy that Bambi has brought, that part of the fandom is just amazing. Not only is Bambi a magnificent performer, they've brought art that we've never seen to Eurovision before. the glow up, like, you only have to, like, I actually watched back, not for ego's sake, but, geez, what did I say about some of these songs on Hub? And, like, every year consistently for, like, the last, 3 years, I've said, Late Late Show sounds like it's been recorded in a barn.
Yep.
I think we've got a better audio setup here
Almost.
than, an actual television show. Yeah, just the glow up of that performance to what we saw on stage. And I can't tell you how many times I've watched Doomsday Blue now. I can't. And it's that reveal, that costume reveal.
Which you missed the first
I
time.
missed the first time. I looked down for a second and I was like,
What?
what?
I've loved this since the very first snippet.
Mm.
Remember when I heard it, I said, I ran into the room and said, listen to this. This is like the 30-second snippet.
And I didn't want to because I was...
You had to, for your reaction video.
Yeah, I was trying to be as cold as I could for my reaction.
Because when I heard it, I'm like, oh my God. And then seeing the Late Late Show, barring the audio issues, of course, which I thought was still pretty good. And then the music video, my God, the performance, the staging, that has to be one of the best ever.
I think so. And, like we were all saying, it's great that, like leading up to it, it's great that Ireland, as a Eurovision country, was taking a risk, and we wanted to see if that risk would pay off. And oh boy, did it ever.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Sixth place.
But 666.
I know. Ha ha.
Six in the televote, 6 in the jury vote, 6 overall. And this is another thing about FOMO being an Australian. Bambi's just released their European tour
this morning.
And I'm like, damn you, Monarch, how dare you? But yeah, it'd be great if they could come here. We would happily quite sell it. We'd sell it out.
Easily.
Quite happy.
Easily.
Even if it's in like the dodgiest pub, I don't care. Number 8.
Oh, this is special for you.
This is special for me. Germany getting 12.
Yes. You fell in love with Isaac in a way.
I did. And I think I kind of appreciate an underdog. And, I'd lost my dearly beloved Czechia in the semis. Can I just say, I think that glow up was just as severe as Bambi's. But honestly, and I think too, hanging out with the German who was like, just don't want to come last, and watching her face be like, what? Like, how did we end up 12th overall? Like, there is something about the song, there's something about the delivery of the lyrics, the lyrics themselves. I'm just like, you know what? You've sold me. And then that performance on stage where Isaac is just being as raw as he can be, with everything on damn fire. And of course I made the joke to him because, I'm a dickhead. If you set yourself on fire, Isaac, it's okay. Nutza will come out because, she's the firefighter. And he just went, ha, 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 weirdo.
Dad joke.
But I was just so proud because I loved Lord of the Lost, and having that come last, I just thought, what is going on with Germany at Eurovision? I know some people are going to be like, oh, they're going to send radio-friendly stuff again. Well, no, it's fine. But when you get someone like Isaac, who is a proper muso, who's done all the groundwork, he's busked, he's done all of this other stuff, and then he's come to this stage and given Germany's like best result since Michael Schulte is huge.
Yeah.
And, we've only got to say, congratulations, Germany, you're finally off the bottom. Like, when those jury points were coming in, I was just like, wait, something's happening. And then the televote was smallish, but I was like, no, the work has been done.
Yeah. Like a lot of us, me and myself included, thought, it's an okay song. But listening to him, watching that performance,
Yep.
I'm eating humble pie because absolutely bloody amazing.
I like it when I'm right.
Yeah, and I'm wrong.
Yeah.
Yes.
Number 9, Petra and Marlon, The Stage, and Johnny Logan.
Yes.
I think Petra's joke about I've done it with a man, I've done it alone, I've done it with a man, and now I'm doing it with a woman, was probably one of my favourite jokes of all 3 shows. Some of the jokes did fall flat, I've got to say, like the whole, are you insane? I was like, are you a bit ableist? That was my thing. Could have used a different word for that. But I think Marlon was the perfect foil for Petra because the show was about Petra, let's be
pretty
honest.
Much the crowd reaction.
I know.
Like we heard it there. Petra, Petra, Petra.
Yeah. And,
insane.
You know, like she is so attached to Swedish Eurovision.
Yeah.
And then doing the whole, I'm never coming back, I'm never doing it again. But also, you know, being in that very select group of people who've done it 3 times. Done it 3 times. Hosted 3 times. Is quite phenomenal. And, you know, there's just something quite perfect about it. And Marlon was great. I think she was great.
She improved over the course of the week. At the start, she was a bit wooden, but she did all right.
And I think too, the whole jarring aspect of the whole, she's got an American accent. You're thinking, this doesn't make sense. You have to keep reminding yourself, no, she is actually Swedish. She's just lived in America for so long that a lot of her accent has switched. But no, I think they did very well together. I think, even though it was a show about Petra, I think it was good that, Malin was also off to go and do her own little skits and things, and the bloody Alcazar thing, don't even start me.
Yeah. Speaking of skits, my favourite joke of the whole competition, a very simple one, and it's our number 10 of our highlights.
Wait. What did you think about the stage, though? Quickly.
Oh, the stage was great.
I wanted more people to use the boxes.
Yeah, fair.
I think the boxes suspended from the top were more for us in the stadium than the TV people.
Yeah, that's true. Like it worked for Czechia.
Worked for
Ukraine.
Worked for Ukraine. Having them actually down for Switzerland just gave the stage a different feel entirely. But it was a very clever stage. Yeah. And funnily enough, it was across. So we knew already. Johnny Logan.
Yep.
I probably would have preferred one of his songs.
But, he did all right with...
I think that's it's probably one of the better covers I've heard of Euphoria. Yeah. There were rumours that Loreen was going to do it with him and then didn't, but I was just like, look, honestly, it's Johnny Logan.
It's Johnny Logan.
I don't care. Like,
great.
He could go to an opening of an envelope and I'd be there.
And he probably would.
All right, number 10, because you are chomping at the bit.
Chomping at the bit, and my favourite bit. Okay. So simple, nice skit. They talked about, it's been 50 years since ABBA won in Brighton, and they panned back to a couple in Brighton to see how it's changed Brighton. And the answer was, not really. I loved it. It was so dry. It
was so dry.
That was it. So I liked it.
I think so. I keep forgetting that Swedish humour is just so dry, and a lot of it was so dry. But also some of the skits were really good. Like, a lot of people didn't like the postcards. I liked the postcards.
Yeah, I liked the postcards.
I thought they were quite funny. Petra's
Just
postcard
That's it.
was probably the best
Yeah,
one.
forgot about that. Yeah.
Gilmore Girls, which we don't have of.
No.
Actually. You're not. Oh, here we go.
Oh, look. It's the... Oh, don't mind the chair, but, you know.
Stop it.
So, for listeners, weirdo. I'm just showing the DVD wall that usually shows up in Eurovision Hub videos.
Yeah, it is. It's become part of me. I think next year we're just going to have to take like a huge cardboard cutout of the DVD wall and just have it behind me at all times, and the good light, so I don't look like a haggard old wedge. All right.
Yes.
Disappointments.
Well,
strap in, listeners and watchers. Yeah. All right. Yeah. This one's probably going to take an hour.
No, we haven't got that much battery.
Number 1, lack of communication and transparency by the EBU.
Well, if you're a casual viewer, you probably don't know what's going on. Nope. But those of us in the bubble, holy crap, couldn't they have got it any more wrong?
It was basically they couldn't organise a piss up in a brewery.
Yep.
Martin Osterdahl, like, you know, I can't be too hard on the man. He's my Facebook friend. But honestly, if you are the face of an organisation that has ballsed up so severely, you are going to be booed. Yep. And I'm sorry, that's just how it's going to be. But throughout this season, this Eurovision season, it has just been very kind of, by the way, this has happened. Oh, by the way, this has happened. Even down to the fact that I don't know how many of our listeners or watchers are still on Elon Musk's X.
Twitter. It's always Twitter.
It's always Twitter. The fact that things got so bad on Twitter that every time they tweeted something, it would just be a wall.
Hashtag.
Of Free Palestine, ban Israel from Eurovision, all of that stuff. That they actually, 1, started blocking people, and 2, stopped posting stuff. So I would go on TikTok, or mostly TikTok, because I don't follow Eurovision on Insta. Yep. I do have it liked on Facebook, and I was seeing content.
Yeah.
That wasn't on Twitter at all.
Well, we know that Twitter X is a cesspool at times.
It's Elon's free speech.
Yeah. Cesspool, free speech, whatever. A lot of people usually say things that they wouldn't say in front of people's faces.
No, that's true.
Now, I say some things on Twitter, but I would say that to people's face. But anyway, that's just me.
Yeah.
But yeah, both sides of the so-called conflict have said some rather not very nice things about people. But that's led to as we said, EBU restricting, or Eurovision account restricting their footprint on Twitter, blocking people, which they shouldn't have done. There's a mute button for a reason.
Yep.
You're a public-facing entity. Blocking is not a good look.
Oh no! If you're like a regular Joe, like
if you're a regular person, the blocking, that's absolutely.
I don't block that often, and I get a lot of hate, and I don't block that often. A lot of the times, I kind of just go, "Is that the best you've got?" Or try again, or I try and reason with them. Don't ask me why. I try and reason with them because that's just who I am. But mute is your best friend. Also, leaving conversations. So if you're like in this huge conversation thread of people just going out, you could just go leave conversation, and you never have to see that again, right? There are things in place. Yeah. But if you're a company or an organisation and you've got, the proper blue tick, not the one that you've just bought because you want to be important, shoot me if I ever consider getting a blue tick for my Twitter account, because it's an absolute wank. Listeners, I'm doing the hand signal for wank, just so you know. Anyway, I would never do it.
You know, someone's going to.
I know someone's going
that.
to give that. That's completely fine. Look, I'm surprised. I would be surprised if a lot of this wasn't gift. But like, I think a lot of the issues that has started all of this like absolute sent to the EBU and to Eurovision is the lack of transparency with things.
And not just that, it's the double standards. Like, as Gabe's, I'm going to refer to Gabe because he's covered this quite a lot. Gabe pointed out that, you know, as Eurofans, we know the rules back to front. So when we see blatant rule breaking and then not being punished, but others being breaking rule and being punished, so what's going on? You know, irrespective of your opinion on what you agree with which country or which delegation, whatever, the rules are there. So if one delegation or country's broken it, the other one has as well. Both should be punished, not just one. So
yeah, and also, you know, just the messaging that was coming out was just so kind of flimsy. And then, you know, the stuff with the Netherlands, a lot of the information was coming out of community media.
Yeah.
Not a lot was coming out of the official channels. And I understand that there is a very fine line where you can
private information,
give information and then there's things that you can't. But like, you know, just all the way through the season, like, you know, the sneaky kind of, oh, here's the countries that are taking part, here's a video.
Yeah.
No explanation.
Yeah.
You know, it wasn't just one thing, and it wasn't just the week of the contest. It had been leading up to this whole kind of let's run away. And that's how it was. Yeah. But like, if you'd been a little bit more open, like there's even to the point where there are people who have written to the EBU and not gotten a response.
Yes.
Like, I know they're getting a lot of stuff.
Yes, they are.
But honestly, just keep on top of your stuff, because we do have to hold you accountable, because even though we believe it's our contest, it's also their contest, but they need to actually listen to us with stuff. Because if you don't, we're going to go.
Yeah. That's
all there is to it.
And going back to the fan media, really keeping the EBU and Eurovision accountable.
Yeah.
I've seen some opinions to say, you know, the fan media brought it out of control and they've, you know, raised the drama. You know, certain ex-head of delegations have, you know, mentioned this. I won't name names.
Still haven't watched that video.
Okay. No. But that's your opinion. Cool. A lot of people don't listen to fan media. You know, casual viewers just watch it and they don't know. They're blissfully unaware.
Yeah.
But those of us in the bubble, we care. We care about the arts. We care about the delegations and make sure that they're safe. And when we're hearing stuff that they're not safe, sure, fan media is going to report on it. Don't diss fan media for doing that. That's just not fair.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's I'll get off my high horse.
Thank you for that. Man who actually had accreditation this year.
Yeah. Well, we'll talk about that. Well, actually, we haven't actually got it in there.
No.
Well, it's related to access, actually, which is our next point.
All right. So, number 2 of our disappointments for 2024. Access in the arena, Malmö Live and Village. Now, I won't go too much into this because I've written something. And I don't know when the something is coming out. And I don't know, it's going to be surprise. But accessibility was pretty bad. It wasn't just the actual access. It was a lot of really outdated thinking of the concept of disability. And a lot of us within the disabled and chronic illness community feel like we have to provide teachable moments all the time. And especially since, our symbol is blue background, white person, wheelchair, right? We don't all fit that. And unfortunately, it felt that Sweden as a whole, not just Malmö, but Sweden as a whole, hadn't really caught up with the whole disability as a spectrum. And you'll have people with AIDS, people that don't use AIDS, invisible disabilities. You'll have ambulant wheelchair users like myself. And it was just constantly a battle. Like, when you get to the arena and you have accessible seats and I couldn't sit with you and I was told that I had to sit in my wheelchair.
Sorry, we should rename it not accessible seats, accessible bays.
Yes, it was a parking bay and I was supposed to sit in my wheelchair. I love my wheelchair, Albert. Best $100 I've ever spent in my life. Not exactly the most comfortable thing in the world.
Especially for a 4-hour show.
And not for a 4-hour show. And of course, I want to actually turn to Mark and say, hey, that was really great. Instead of, hey, that was really great.
Yeah,
which
so
you can't do.
Danie had her seat in the bay and my seat was directly behind.
But it wasn't even a seat, though. It was just, here is the space for your mobility aid. You are to stay on it.
Thankfully, tickets didn't sell out, so there were spare seats.
Yes, there were spare seats, so we were able to sit together, which is annoying. But like Malmö Live turning off the lifts because they couldn't figure out how to block certain areas because, delegations and artists were mixing in with, oh no, God forbid, the fans.
You can understand.
Oh, definitely.
Communication?
Oh my God.
Yeah.
And the Village. I'm not a huge fan of the Village. I haven't liked any Village I've been to.
Yeah.
I just don't like them. I feel that they're primarily there for the locals and not for the fans at all. The problem with Village this year is we had everything looked awesome on paper with like Eurovision Street.
Oh, God. I'm sorry. I walked down Eurovision Street. Was it the Friday before the grand final?
Yeah.
It was dead. It was just Willy Wonka's Glasgow experience.
It was.
And what the?
When they had so many acts pulling out and they had to move everything to the Village and the Village was just no.
Like parts of it when there were crowds in there, which was very rare, it was quite good. But yeah, the times that I went a couple of times and obviously I missed like Cario and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
But as you're going to say, more security guards and police officers than people.
That's a point coming up, actually.
Oh, sorry. I jumped ahead.
Sorry. Number 3, though, public transport. They knew we were coming, right?
Yeah.
Like...
Yeah.
They knew...
Look, we got discounted tickets.
If you didn't have the app, so say you decided I'm going to buy a paper ticket and you didn't have that information on the app, you were stuffed. Buses wouldn't run. Yeah. Buses would run, but they'd change
routes because there's, construction work going on.
Or you get to the train station and there'd be no one there to ask. Trains were infrequent. Like, you'd finish the show... And it was just like a regular timetable.
Every hour.
Every hour. And it was even every hour for those in Denmark. Like,
the platforms
you knew we were coming.
I've heard people getting the last train just with seconds to spare. Like, come on.
Like, we did... Granted, we had a lot of issues that week with the bridge... being out.
Oh, yes, twice in a week.
So, the Orison Bridge in 2023, and I know I'm saying it wrong because I'm always going to say it wrong, was out of action for 2 days for a whole year. It was out of action for 2 days in a week.
Yep.
And it was just like, there were no alternatives. Like, it was basically, you had to take that and you just had to lump it.
And the transparency, this is not EBU's fault, but finding out what the reason was.
No!
Different views. Suicide, bomb threat, who knows?
But, like, I don't know if I'm just coming from Melbourne privilege, because we do have excellent public transport here. I know we whinge about it, but it is actually excellent. And the fact that you can leave, like, a concert, and there'll be extra trams, there'll be extra buses, there'll be extra trains, right? And you don't have to take your car. You don't have to worry about ride sharing unless you wanted it, right? That's completely fine.
Yeah.
Or a taxi or whatever. But leaving a venue, like a large event, you will be able to get where you need to go.
Yeah.
You'd leave, and this is only for us that were doing the jury shows, the nighttime jury shows. We weren't doing the lives.
No.
We were struggling to get a bus, either a bus to go back to our accommodation or a bus to get somewhere else or whatever, because it was just like, we're not putting extra services on. Why would you want that? Well, you're hosting a very large event.
I think it comes down to, as Gabe said it again, I don't think Malmo really wanted it. They were just the default city.
They were the default city.
Made ticked every box. So
but going back to what you said before, number 4 is more police than security than fans. Ellen said that the lack of being able to take a bag anywhere was difficult. Now, Sweden's bag policy, we all knew about it before we went, because I think they announced it in August, and then they put it into play in November.
Yep.
But then also that came down to lack of transparency and information. So a lot of people were worried about being without a bag. Now, I'm not just talking about a physical bag. I'm talking about, like, people like me who feel very comfortable with a bag because, I'm a turtle and I like to take my house with me. I couldn't do that for a week, and I think that really added to a lot of my anxiety, because I was constantly just having to stuff things in my pockets. And then on top of that, there was the thing at Euro Club when it was like, you can't have a jacket, but then, you'd walk in with a jacket and no one would stop you. And it was like, sort it out. Because I was using my jacket as my handbag at the end.
Yeah.
And there were times that I went to Euro Club with a blanket because there was no blankets. So I took a blanket. Like, it made sense. Like, I was cold. But, like, I can't fault the police, because the police that I spoke to, like, my personal interactions with police, they were all really lovely. They had no idea what they were doing. It was great. You'd walk up to them and you'd go, just wanted to ask you a question. Oh, no, we haven't been briefed on that yet.
No.
And it's like, oh, okay.
Communication between the city officials, like, come on.
So there was definitely, like, a hierarchy as well. Like, police, local and international police, because, of course, we had police from Denmark, and we had Norwegian, and didn't we have Finnish police as well? Maybe. Probably. They were fine. Then your actual, like, volunteers, lovely, had no idea what they were doing. But that's fine. They were nice.
Yeah.
Then you had the security guards. So you had the ones in the white shirts were quite regular.
Regular.
The ones in the blue shirts were mall cops.
Yeah, wow.
And it all depended who you saw, what mood they were in, and what kind of whatever they had read that no one else had read. So, it was the power bank issue again. Can I take my power bank into the arena? Mine got taken off me. Or
mine was fine,
Or you'd hear, security guard came over and asked, my partner what he was doing here because he was not white presenting.
Oh, yes.
And it's like, calm
For
your
real?
thumb.
Yeah.
We're not having racial profiling in the arena. Thank you very much. But everything was just so intense. But there were times when you'd go places, there were more security than fans. And you just think, what the hell am I doing? Like, there was, we watched the lives of the semi-finals in a Spanish tapas restaurant with a screen.
Yep.
And leading up to that, there was like a lead-in show on SVT.
Yes.
And of course, it was all in Swedish, so we all thought it was hilarious. And they would have shots of the village because they were actually filming within the village, and there was no one there. And then you'd see like a group of security guards just walking past. And I'm like, oh, good, the security guards have turned up to village. No one else has. Like, I understand that Sweden has been under a very, very huge terror cloud for quite some time, and I get it. But also, you're having a, let's say, international, because it's not just Europeans that go to this thing. What did they say? There were like 90 countries? People from 90 countries or something ridiculous. Yep. And there's not 90 European countries. But we're all descending on a very, very multicultural city. And we're all being treated like we're not supposed to be there. And there were times that it was just like, why? Yeah. Why are we here? Yeah. Like, this was a bad plan. If we couldn't have had it in Stockholm, why did we have it at all? But of course, we have to blame Taylor Swift for that. Oh dear, what a shame. The last one on our personal thing, which of course flows on from this, is number 5, the general vibe of Malmö. Now, there were times, and I'm not blowing wind up anyone's asses, but like, I took my Eurovision stuff. And like, if you've listened to this podcast, for quite some time, that we have a flag of Eurovision's design. And, you can get it on so many things through Redbubble. You don't have to go now. It's fine. But, like, that's one of the most popular things that we have on our Redbubble, because there is nothing like it on Redbubble. I took all of that. I wore none of it.
Yeah.
Because towards the end of that week, if you were wearing anything that was recognisably Eurovision, you'd get awful looks. You'd get people, shouting Free Palestine at you. We want a Free Palestine!
But, like, the flag design had an Israeli flag, and you felt uncomfortable. And I can understand a lot of Israeli fans being quite uncomfortable because you couldn't feel comfortable displaying your nation's flag because you could probably get accosted.
Like, even before we left, I had people have a go at me because of the Euro sticks having the Israeli flag on it. Like, where do we draw the line? I know that was a really bad song for Latvia a few years ago, and I absolutely loved it.
When we draw the line.
But I think, that is a symbol of every country that's been in Eurovision. And of course, name me a country that hasn't had an issue. But, like, it got to the point that I was just around in civilian clothes. Like, Gone was last year, where I was wearing the flag dress and all this stuff, and I was just, whatever, because it had every flag. Like, it's got every flag on it. There's 2 countries on it that don't even exist anymore. But, like, it had Russia, and people weren't having a go about Russia. It had Belarus on it. It doesn't even, everyone's like, Belarus, forgotten about them. But I felt so uncomfortable. And even with my crutches, which had all the flags on them, I was kind of like tucking them or hiding them near me.
Yep.
Because I was like, I don't like that. I don't, we're such a diverse group of people. For this whole season has been just based on assumptions and assumptions about people, and it's been awful. But just to assume that you are in someone's city to go to an international singing contest, singing contest. Some people didn't sing, but then have the assumption that you were one way or the other.
I know. That was
really
ridiculous.
Sucked.
Yeah.
It really sucked. And it took a lot of the enjoyment out of it, because I love doing the weird dress up stuff. And I couldn't do it. And God love Kate. She was like, no, they're not stopping me from wearing, dresses with flags on them and all that stuff. Yeah. But like, there were times when she was like, I need to get out of here, because we were just not comfortable. Like, not saying right to protest. Absolutely. Like, I'm a unionist, all of that stuff. Right to protest. Just don't be a dick.
Yeah.
Don't incite violence, all of that stuff. You are doing it to make people uncomfortable. But when you're making people scared...
That's when it's crossing a line.
When they were outside of Eurovision Village...
Yep.
And everyone was waiting on me because I was having a cigarette, because, of course, you couldn't smoke in Village. Yay. That was another thing why I didn't like Village. But, like, people were trying to go into Village with Palestinian flags.
Yeah.
And just being turned around constantly. But even on that point, here at home, I was seeing multiple reports of the Palestinian flag is banned from Eurovision this year. And I was just like, can we just... The Palestinian flag hasn't been allowed at Eurovision since the flag rules of, 2015?
Tell that to Madonna. And Hattery.
I know. And them both doing that in Tel Aviv was chef's kiss. But, like, non-participating country flags have never been allowed into the arena. Unfortunately, this year, they went a step further and they were like, you can only have one particular pride flag. But if you don't identify with rainbow pride and you want to take in a non-binary flag, Nemo, that was another thing entirely. Like, the whole thing was just a mess.
That goes back to the miscommunication.
Oh, my God.
Bad communication from the EBU.
Yeah.
The people were turfed out. Nemo stated that they had to sneak in the the non-binary flag for the flag parade. And then was it the head of the EBU came out a few days after and said, oh no, it was miscommunication, that it was allowed, blah, blah. Bullshit. Your rules stated this, things happen like this. Just, I'm sorry, but it was just an absolute shit show in time.
And there's a lot of people that go to Eurovision who don't have a country in it, or their country used to participate and they don't anymore. You should be able to fly your flag.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people are actually fans of the contest.
Yep.
Moving more on to contest
yes.
related stuff.
Yes.
Number 6, Australia and Norway's results.
First, Australia. I was so sorry that Australia didn't make it. I think if we had $1 for every time we asked that, we're fine.
We're fine.
We pretty much were consigned to the fact that it probably wouldn't qualify. I thought it was a borderline.
Yeah, and it was in the end. It was just on the wrong side.
On the wrong side, yeah. So, no, that's fine. Like, disappointed? Sure. But it's not the end of the world. And as we always say, that us two specifically, we're there to watch Eurovision. We're not here to go, Aussie, Aussie, Aussie. Like,
oi,
oi. Oi, oi. But if it's a great song from Australia, sure. Like Voyager last year, loved it.
Yep.
Electric Field's song this year was fine, but it just wasn't, up there with our favourites. So we weren't that disappointed that it didn't make it.
And the fact that you know, it only didn't qualify by, what, 6 points?
Something like that, yeah. 5.
Like, people were engaging with it. They just weren't engaging with it enough.
Yeah.
And I don't want SBS to turn around and go, oh, we took a risk, now we're not going to. Kind of a little bit like Germany, or a little bit like, you know, what's happened with Ireland. Like, I don't want us to suddenly fall back into ballads, or, you know, people of a certain colour, or, you know, it's like, ugh.
Yeah.
I think, regardless of the performance of any of it, it was just really great to have something different from our broadcaster that, you know, none of us chose. Like, you know, they're all just, I think we're just cycling through Australia Decides people now. So maybe Casey Donovan for next year, or Alfia Curie, we'll just drag him out. It'll be fun.
If we're back next year.
But
we said that this year, so
I know.
Who knows?
But, you know, it was really great to have Indigenous language and all of that on stage. And now, you know, that box has been ticked. It's now on the list of recognised Eurovision languages, which is great. But Norway...
What happened?
What?
Like, when it first came out, I was like, oh my God, I love this. It went down in my rankings a bit.
Of course.
But I wasn't expecting last place in the final. I thought people liked folk, but obviously not modern folk. I don't know, because I was getting a shum vibe, and I thought, oh yeah, okay. Not enough, it seems.
Something that I didn't grasp until watching the Voyager reaction. You should have a look at the Voyager reaction videos on their channel, because they're really bloody funny. But one thing, and I don't know if it was Danie or could have been one of the other boys, that basically said that the song is solid, but it doesn't have a sing-along hook to it.
That'd do it.
So you'd get to the chorus, and there wasn't really a moment where you could sing along. You'd kind of do this all the way through.
True, yeah.
And it didn't really have that hook. And it was really quite weird. Like, when we finally got the actual results of the semi-finals, and I was like, God, they only just scraped into the semi, like, out of the semi anyway. Like, how were we just, or was it just such a year where it ended up being top heavy? You know, we kept saying, oh, it's such an even year. But then when we got to the results, voting, it was just so top heavy.
It was top heavy, yeah.
That, you know, I felt for the Norwegians, because they haven't sent anything in Norwegian for ages. And they'd done like solid pop, which is great. And they've gone something that's, you know, really, really Norway. And really, really Norway didn't work. So I don't know. But honestly, them coming last, there was a poll the day of the grand final from OGAE Rest of the World. And it was, who's coming first, who's coming second, who's coming last.
Yeah.
Who did you put for last?
I didn't vote. I forgot about it.
I put Spain. And you know how much I love Thora. But I had Spain last. Like, wow.
Yeah, I don't think many people predicted Norway to come last.
No. I do have to say one thing, though. Colleen from Austria should have gotten another chance.
Yeah,
to redo it, because I'm sorry, the Steadicam ran out of battery. Sure,
was that the excuse?
Yes.
Nah, bullshit. At the right moment when she was doing her...
Absolutely, yes. Because when we were watching it, in Malmö Live, so we're in, like, you know, a function room, and we were like, oh, maybe that's just our feed. No,
it was everyone's feed.
It was everyone's feed.
Yeah.
So that's great. So I feel bad for We Will Rave. I wasn't a huge fan of the song, but I absolutely adore her, and she should have been able to have another go.
Yep.
Number 7 on the disappointment list was Linda Woodruff's material this year.
I wasn't expecting to say this, but yeah, I love Linda Woodruff. Great character. Linda Woodruff. But yeah, the material, Martin Osterdahl, Good to Go song. Yeah, no.
Yeah, like, you know,
No.
Do you remember how Sweden was like, oh, we're going to do these innovative things where we, you know, reduce the running time? I was like, out of all the things, you probably could have cut that.
Yep.
Could have maybe kept the Netherlands in and cut We Love Martin Osterdahl.
Read the room.
Martin Estrogen. Yeah. There were times sitting through that and I'm just like, and I'm going smaller and smaller in my seat. I'm like down here somewhere. Listeners who are not watching, I'm like going slowly down my seat. But that was awful. That was so badly timed.
I don't think anyone enjoyed that.
And it's like, oh, God. But yeah, look, you know, the writing can't be top notch every time, can it? Oh.
You got to look pretty for the camera.
Oh, thanks. I'm actually surprised that you noticed. You're usually just like, no, you look fine. Then we'll watch it back and I'll be like, great, it looked like I've been through a hedge. All right, disappointment number 8. Pretending everything's fine. Ellen had some stuff to talk about this. How the entire atmosphere changed once semi-final 1 was finished because of Israel. Did you mean semi-final 2? Anyway. Also, the stupid stage manager saying, this is a love castle. We love everybody here.
Oh, my God.
The atmosphere was difficult.
Yeah.
But also, being dismissive doesn't help.
We're not 3 years old. We understand the situation. Be mindful of people's feelings. Yes, Eurovision should be united by music, but clearly this year it wasn't for various reasons.
Yeah.
So don't dismiss people's feelings. That's what I want to say.
And also,
really.
right, you know, talking about the booing before with Martin Osterdahl, absolutely. Boo the bloody hell out of that guy, because we're so disappointed in you. We are disappointed in you, Martin. I did not boo Eden.
No, I refuse to do that. I don't think... I mean, fair play to anyone who did. I get that. I respect your opinion that I didn't feel it was comfortable to do that. I didn't react. That was my... Not protest, because I wasn't protesting the song or anything like that. I was just... It's there. Yeah.
I basically took myself off Twitter, which never happens. But I stopped engaging with Twitter during that week. Because any time I said anything, I would just have bleh.
Oh,
but you know, TMI, I was having a panic attack probably every second day. I was crying every day. I have psoriasis. I've never had such a ferocious outbreak of psoriasis on my body since I was probably 10 or 12. Like, I'm talking everywhere, and I was in so much pain because of it. Like, I didn't know what to do. I was smoking far too much because I was anxious. So of course I've left Malmö with asthma, which I haven't also had for ages. But like, if I even dared say any of this on social media, people would be like, well, you didn't have to go. Like, it's your fault for going. And I'm just like, oh my God.
Yeah. People have opinions.
But
we all do. Yes.
We, you know, you and I, we went because we wanted to support the artists that we like. We wanted to support the songs that we like. But above all else, we wanted to see our friends. And that was the main thing. And a lot of people I've said to this since we've gotten home, people were like, oh, how was the contest? It was like, because of everything that was going on, the contest became secondary. And it was more about hanging out with friends.
Yep.
And that was the whole thing.
Yep.
I want my joy back from the contest because, you know, like semi-final 2, we got to Eden's song. The booing started. I feel it coming. Anxiety attacks. Great. Sat there through it like this, going, I don't know if I could deal. I go to a lot of AFL games and I'm used to booing.
Yeah.
Not in this situation. I felt very uncomfortable. Even though you are fine to boo. But I just sat there and I just went, I'm out.
Yeah.
And I missed...
You missed a few songs.
I missed half of semi-final 2 because I was outside having a panic attack. Pacing. I was just pacing because that's all I could do. And I missed a lot of the grand final. And I was like, this is not good for me.
Yeah.
But, you know, like, as I've always said, especially on Twitter, is you can only do you. And that's all you can do. But honestly, pretending everything is fine was just really dismissive of everyone. Not talking, you know, which side of politics you are, or even if you are a little bit in the middle, whatever. Telling people off was just like, when I turned to you and I just said, oh my God.
Oh, yeah.
I'm in primary school.
Yeah.
This is awful.
Yeah.
Because I just didn't know how to process emotions at that stage.
Yeah.
I was just... One of the worst things, or one of the good things about me is I feel everything. One of the worst things about me is I feel everything. And I just hit such a wall that I just didn't.
Yeah.
And now I think I've listened to Hurricane
quite a number of times.
4 times? 4 times.
Hey, it's been an earworm for me the last 2 days.
Look,
there you go.
You know, any other year I probably would have liked it. But I think because it came with so much baggage. And I'm not being an asshole for saying baggage, but it did come with baggage.
Yeah. Whether you like it or not.
I'm not being anti-Semitic. Oh my God. I can't stress that enough. It came with baggage. A lot of songs came with baggage.
Yeah.
Not just Israel.
Yeah.
Number 9.
Interval acts. We put this in disappointment. Semi-final 1, I actually liked the interval acts there. I thought they were quite good.
I still haven't seen Benjamin Ingrosso because I've missed it twice.
Semi-final 2, I can't even remember, so they must be pretty ordinary.
Yeah.
The grand final, apart from the intro, I love that song. The rest of the interval acts, like Alcazar, fine. Charlotte Pirelli ×3. No.
I know. And, you know,
I'll pass.
We couldn't even get ABBA. So we got the avatars, which is fine. I know they're of a certain age. But like, Jesus, could we have just gotten Benny or maybe Bjorn?
Yeah.
Like one of them to just say, hi. It's been 50 years, but no. And having bloody Corolla, sorry, turning up on stage, warbling. I'm like, oh, save me, Jesus.
Oh, at least we had Conchita to save us a little bit there.
Thank
so,
God.
you know.
But, like, you know, the stuff with Eric Sada. Like, Eric Sada literally has skin in the game. Did they expect him to not make a statement?
Oh, yeah. Talking about the miscommunication and just blatant EBU hypocrisy. Come on.
They just, like we could go on about Orlando's nails and all of that stuff. But, like... Those interval acts, it was pretty much like Charlotte Pirelli was available. Let's just use her for every single one.
Yep.
And it was like, and to be honest, no one wanted to touch this year with a large barge pole.
Artists leaving. Artists not committing to stuff. It
was like, no, I don't want to. And they were like, oh my God. And then, of course, good old Charlotte Pirelli. Thank God. Because we didn't have Charlotte. We wouldn't have had... Yeah. I think the highlight for me, and I'm going to have to watch it back again, I think, was We Just Love Eurovision Too Much. It wasn't on the level... of Love, Peace, Peace. Or Petra's one that she did herself, which I always forget the bloody name of. That was fun.
Yeah.
But a lot of it just really felt like, shit, we need to find someone. Oh, get Charlotte on the phone. She'll do it.
And Ewan from ESC Insight brought this up when I spoke to him earlier in the week. This Eurovision was looking at the past a lot, a lot. I know it's 50 years since ABBA, but it is also 2024. We should be looking at now, looking at the future. What's Eurovision like now? Didn't really get a sense of that, apart from the stage design.
It kind of felt like a retrospective contest.
Yes.
Which is great, but...
It was too much of a retrospective contest.
I don't know.
Yeah, and...
Number 10.
One more elephant in the room.
Number 10. So the number 10 disappointment that we had on our list, thank you, Simon, was the blatant inflation of the televote for Israel.
Now, before you jump down our throats...
Oh my God! We're not being anti-Semitic!
It was clear that there was a blatant vote. Well, I wouldn't say rigging, but it was an inflation. We had... In Melbourne, we had rabbis calling up their constituents, whatever you call them, followers.
Yeah, synagogue, basically saying it's the
vote for
right
Israel.
thing to do.
Which I get, but you're not Eurovision fans. You're just voting because, it's good for Israel. Sure, there's sympathy votes. I get that. That's cool. You have sympathy for Israel. But if you're doing it just to spite the woke, the pro-Palestine crowd, then... Why? You're just ruining it for everyone else. Come on.
The billboard in Times Square. What government department of Israel was it that basically said, we poured a lot of money into this. And I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah. The ads in all different languages.
That were quite funny, actually. I'm sad I haven't seen them all.
I get that. That's fine to do that. But when it's funded by the government... It's on the nose. Come on.
There's two things that I think we can take away from this. One, the voting portal, there needs to be some kind of way, not limiting votes, but there's got to be a way where you don't have people coming onto Twitter, blatantly, I had 5 or 6 credit cards and I voted for Israel 100 times. And I'm like, what?
But before, anyone accuses us of being anti-Israel, Malta did it a few years ago, didn't they? With the phone cards. It's the same thing. That sort of process needs to be nipped in the bud.
It does. But also, the voting, because, of course, for Australia, we don't have premium SMS anymore. So we have moved to ESC.vote.
Yep.
You can vote as many times as you want.
It's 20 times per payment method.
Yeah.
So
but there's no limit to how many times you could do it. So you could go in the app and go 20 votes for one country.
Yeah.
Put that through, get another credit card.
Yeah.
Put that through, put that through.
Yeah.
I don't know about you, but I split my votes.
Yeah.
And I have no drama doing that.
Yeah.
If there was a cap,
yeah,
it would maybe make it, I don't know, this doesn't happen again. I'm not taking away from people who genuinely loved Hurricane. There were a lot of people where it got them straight in the heart. That's fantastic.
And absolutely.
Not saying that, Edem didn't do a great performance, because I sat there objectively and went, you know what?
Yeah.
This is actually quite an interesting package.
Yeah.
But we've got ghosts in the walls. Oh my God! It's Martin Osterdahl! But there's got to be a way where you can... there's got to be a way where you can kind of stop that, where... Because, of course, remember, it's not like Big Brother. You can't vote to evict.
Yeah.
But, it was so huge. The one thing that I would love to know, and I know they will never release this information.
Yes.
We, as in Eurovision, went back to, you can start...
voting.
At the start.
From the very first song.
Now, I want to know the graph of
when votes.
Who voted for Israel when?
Yeah.
So let's say no interest in Eurovision whatsoever, right?
Yeah.
You've seen an ad, you've been told by your rabbi, you've been told by your mates, your community, whatever. It is your duty to get up and vote for Israel in Australia, right? So we're using Australia because Australia gave Israel 12 telepoints. And we were like, eh. But anyway, so you get up, you watch the start, you go, this is not really for me. Start voting now. I'll drop 100 votes. I'll go to bed and I won't even watch it.
Yep.
Or
100% that did happen.
Wait until the songs actually happened.
Yep.
And then drop a few votes. That's fine. And then leave again and not have any interest in it. That's really shitty for me.
But no, comparing the televote results for Australia across, I guess, the spectrum of the OGAE club votes, and I know this is not a perfect example across all of Australia.
Gets it wrong a lot.
Yeah. Israel was nowhere to be seen in the top 10.
No.
So, yes, I expected Eden's song to get quite a number of televotes.
Oh, absolutely.
Because, yes, it was a good ballad. Not a great ballad, a good ballad, in my opinion. But I didn't expect 300 and odd votes for the televote. I expected maybe 100, 150. So, yeah.
But then also, since then, and I just want to reiterate that a lot of the problems that we've had with Israel's participation within the contest, of course, putting aside what's happening, is that Can, the broadcaster, has done some pretty dodgy shit this year, right? So a lot of our issues are with Can and not with the delegation, not with the artist, not with the song as much as a lot of
some
people.
members of the delegation.
But when you are able to watch back the Can commentary and they are blatantly saying this person is not a friend of Israel, don't vote for them.
Yeah, see, that's crossing a line.
It's not
Whether
great.
It was meant in jest or not.
I don't know.
Our commentators have made some faux pas.
Oh, absolutely. Hello, Terry Wogan.
Well, yeah. But, so, Australia can't be absolved completely.
No, God,
clearly.
No.
But, yeah, some of those comments from Can... Yeesh.
But, this is the data that I want. And these are the changes that I think will have to be made with that televote. I just think that moving forward, there is going to have to be some changes made, especially to the online vote.
Yeah.
Because the online vote is us.
Yeah.
And who else uses the online vote?
Oh, there's a few other countries, I think.
Israel.
Row.
Rest of the world.
Yep.
There's a few that use that online vote. And I think eventually they'll start moving everyone onto it. Yeah. Once premium SMS just starts to become, the thing of the dinosaur. But if I was able to get that, actual tangible data of when those televotes happened for Israel, I think it would give us a clearer picture of why that televote was so high. Because if you're just getting up and you're just going, just drop, 100 points on Israel, go back to bed. Whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know. But those were a lot.
Our top 10 delights and top 10 disappointments.
But yeah, thanks, Simon. So you've basically, organised our thoughts.
Thanks.
Into...
You can do our scripts for the next episode.
Yes, please. But I just keep thinking back. We had such an amazing time in Stockholm. You bought the grey hat. I bought
the Gumlistan hat. Loved a bit of Gumlistan with my hat. Mihal likes it too. You and Stephen, playing down at Gumlistan.
That's an in-joke for all of you. Also, I love Copenhagen.
Yeah.
So, it was great. And the amount of money that Copenhagen has made... Thanks to people going, I'm not going to Malmö, I'm not staying in Malmö.
Oh, look, yeah.
They've done so well.
Copenhagen, Stockholm, absolutely loved it. Beautiful cities.
Yep.
Like, go
Yep.
there again easily.
Would you go back to Malmö? You know what?
Probably not.
The change on the Saturday of the grand final, right? There was no one on the streets. It was dead as a doorknob. All of that stuff. And then Sunday, everyone was out.
It's alive.
My God.
Malmö comes alive. They're all back.
Because people were hiding.
Yeah.
Because they didn't feel comfortable having us there either.
Yeah, no, you can't blame them, really.
Oh, God, no. Could you imagine?
Yeah.
Tensions are really high.
Yeah.
Some huge festival comes to your hometown.
Yeah.
Just like, nah, I'm staying home. I'm staying home. But I feel bad for Malmö because a lot of like restaurants and shops and stuff, it was a loss.
Yeah.
It was an absolute loss.
Except for the Spanish tapas place we went to.
They did very well out of us, didn't they?
Yes.
But honestly, I think this is time to try and put some of the nails in the coffin of 2024. 2024 because, oh my God. It's been a learning experience.
Yes. But we have a fantastic winner.
We do.
Well deserved. Nemo with the code. Great staging. Fantastic. All the awards.
Play it now then.
Welcome to the show, let everybody know I'm done playing the game, I'll break out of the chains. You better buckle up, I'll pour another cup. This is my boy, so drink it up, my friend. Whoa, whoa, this story is I went to hell and back to find myself on track. I broke the code, whoa, like ammonite. I just gave it some time. Now I found paradise. I broke the code, whoa, yeah. Let me tell you a tale about life, for the good and the bad, better hold on tight. Who decides what's wrong, what's right? Everything is balance, everything's light. I got so much on my mind, and I've been no break all night. I'm so pumped, I'm so psyched, it's bigger than me, I'm getting so hyped like. Let me taste the lows and highs. Let me feel that burning fright. This story is my truth. I went to hell and back to find myself on track. I broke the code, whoa, like ammonite. I just gave it some time. Now I found paradise. I broke the code, whoa. Somewhere between the O's and ones, that's where I found my kingdom come. My heart beats like a somewhere between the O's and ones. That's where I found my kingdom come. My heart beats like a drum. I went to hell and back to find myself on track. I broke the code, whoa, like ammonite. I just gave it some time. Now I found paradise. I broke the code, whoa.
Well, that was Nemo with the code.
A good winner. Also, I'm very happy that we have a wonderful second place again.
Yes.
That makes me very happy. Well done, Croatia.
Yes.
You finally found your
I
spot.
can't believe we didn't even talk about it until now. Like,
I know. There's so much.
There's so much.
We could do like part 5 of, the deep dive of Eurovision 2024.
Maybe that's a series that we can look.
Oh, please no.
Oh, maybe I'll do it.
Oh, God. Yeah, you can do it. I've been so anxious. I'm just far out.
And I
We've
could
made it
get
through.
guest partners, maybe.
All right, sure, you do you. The next episode of the Wind Machine podcast, we'll be back to behind the mic and I can sit in my pajamas and it doesn't matter if my eyeliner runs, we'll be fine. We're back to the 70s with episode 96, which is 1971. The safety of the 70s.
Well, it wasn't at the time, but anyway.
No, but it's great. Okay. Since we've played a song, you know what you have to do.
Do the legal announcement.
You do, I'm sorry.
We at Wind Machine Podcast take every legal step allowed to us to present this podcast with a current APRA license, and we claim fair use for the music played. We are not affiliated with the EBU, SBS, or its partners. We are just fans.
Wow! Listeners on the podcast, he pretty much did that without looking at the script.
Half of it.
You were very good.
It's been like a month since I've done it, but anyway.
So good. So good. All right. I've been Danie Tregonning, and you can follow me on all of the socials. Danie Treg, DANIETREG.
You can follow me on Twitter, Darth_Tempest. You
can follow the podcast on Twitter at WindMachinePod.
On Mastodon at WindMachine Podcast at Mastodon.social.
Oh, he's doing it. We're on Threads, WindMachine Podcast at threads.net.
Like us on Facebook.
Follow us on Instagram.
Subscribe to the YouTube channel, Wind Machine Productions, which, if you're watching, is right here.
And, do the like, subscribe.
Subscribe, yes. All that junk. Yeah.
Ding. And you can find us on TuneIn, Podbean, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, etc., 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 which you may be listening to on right now.
And take a look at our website, windmachinepodcast.com.
You can also shout us a coffee at ko-fi.com, which is ko-fi.com/Windmachine Podcast, as every cent goes to running this podcast. And it's a podcast. We're not doing this again. I hate it. If merch is your thing, you can buy cups, badges, and other assorted Wind Machine Podcast branded stuff on Redbubble by searching for Wind Machine Pod. The Flags of Eurovision design has all of them. Is also found there, and that helps with our music licensing, audio editing subscriptions, and website hosting costs. One of them's just come out. Hope you've enjoyed this. I'm not doing this again.
Oh, poor baby. There.
It's so uncomfortable. I should be over there, and it should take me all of 6 minutes.
Not, it 1 hour 45?
I should be over there doing, hi folks and welcome to a new Eurovision Hub reaction video. But this is wrong. Quick.
Ah!
Oh my God, over there!
Over there!
For those of you listening, we just went back to the DVD wall. Please don't watch this on YouTube. It's horrific.
Yes.
No! God! Good grief. All right. We'll be back
in a few weeks with 1971.
Yeah. Which will be such a jolt, but my God, I think we deserve it.
2024. Glad to see the end of you in a way.
Yeah. Some of the songs, fantastic. The rest of it, in the bin.
Yeah.
But until next time, be good listeners and watchers, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye.